Tasting, 1, 2, tasting. Yeah.
You have one slide to talk about yourself if you would like.
Okay.
That's you. You don't have to talk about
I'm
yourself.
not very good extemporaneous. It's David Streb, thank you.
Sorry.
And I used to work for the city, and so this is from the city's perspective. And I'm pleased to see so many people that care so deeply about the city that they're going to understand some of the things I'm talking about. So that's cool. So when does my 20 seconds actually begin for my first slide?
It's like a light to make you beautiful.
Ooh. It's going to take a lot of light, lady.
That's you.
All right. It's showtime.
Whoops.
I was the planning coordinator and community development director for the city of Fitchburg for over 20 years. Long enough to see some things that the city of Fitchburg has lost. Lost opportunities and lost stuff. Now there's an awkward silence. And they warned us about that in the training videos. I will listen, dude.
Speak slower.
Okay. This was my team. We used grants and programs to improve the city. It felt like it was my job to make Fitchburg better. It still is, actually. It's all of our job to make things better where we live. But this talk won't make anything better. This is just a look at some of Fitchburg's lost things. This is probably the biggest lost thing. If you remember this was an industrial park proposed in the mid-1980s. Somebody remembers it. This was along Route 2, the southern edge of Fitchburg. This would have made an enormous amount of revenue for the city. We would have gotten our own intersection off of Route 2, but instead we got this. Land locked up by the state that has no particular recreational value beyond its open space that no one can access and from which the city gets no taxes. Now, I like open space, but an industrial park along Route 2 would have been better. This one, Montechusett Industrial Park, in the middle of nowhere, not on a major highway, pays the city over $500,000 every year in taxes, and they don't need any services. So that was a biggie. That was the first lost thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. Kind of arcane, I know, but I'm a former city planner. This is the second big thing. This was right up the hill here. The Crescent Building. I loved the way it overlooked the city, and I wanted to save it. We could have saved it by making it all subsidized housing, but people didn't want subsidized housing. And so I didn't fight for it, and it didn't happen, and this is what we ended up with. Everybody knows this. This is a vacant lot off of Blossom Street with old crumbled foundations from a failed development project. Something else Fitchburg lost. This guy was going to build 3 other projects, and he didn't. Here's the next thing to be lost. Old City Hall, vacated because of a bad roof truss and a lack of a sense of historic importance. I'm afraid this building doesn't have long for this world. I didn't mean to be such a bummer tonight. I know you guys care about this stuff too. Here's another, this is the old Central Steam Plant. This was just torn down recently. When the city acquired this, we also acquired a bunch of steam lines up and down the river. And which we could live with the steam plant, and on the maintenance roads for the steam line, we built a trail, and we wanted to extend the trail under the railroad, but the railroad said no. We wanted to be able to reach the train station in West Fitchburg. The congressman tried, the mayor tried, maybe someday, but until then, this is one of those lost things. The steam line trails are dead. Here's another one. This is raw. I know it's a little too fresh to be used in something like this. Better to get a big historical perspective, I suppose. Sat empty and damaged for years before it was finally torn down. It just seems like somebody could have saved this building. But instead, we have a big vacant lot right in the heart of downtown. At least someone's mowing the grass. I saw someone out there the other day mowing the grass. We need people living there instead. I mean, I'm a city planner. There's like a rule of thumb. You need so many housing units within a quarter mile of downtowns to make them viable. This isn't doing it. This was a big loss for me personally. We're switching perspectives a little bit. These guys were way ahead of their time. You know, craft beer has exploded, but back then, it wasn't that big a thing. And he was a very inventive brewer. That beer would have done well this day and age. Remember the ice storm? Now this ice storm was, it was lost. It was one of those disasters that's not really that big a disaster. It made a lot of good stories. This was just a segue, though, for what was really lost that New Year's Eve, for me personally, because we invested a lot of time and energy into it, Brew Year's Eve. We were going to have a big blowout at the Armory, but they were using the Army for a homeless shelter for all the people that were displaced by the ice storm. So that was lost. That's one of the things that was lost to Fitchburg. A lot of people forget about it. It kind of came and went. We managed to pull something off and raise some money, but it wasn't the big deal we had planned.
Not long.
But there's still time, folks. Saturday! What, day after tomorrow, right? We're having a big Brewers Festival right across. You guys all know about that. I don't have to detail. I only have 20 seconds. Wait, where am I? Oh! You know, I tried 3 times to make Fitchburg an all-America city, and I lost all 3 times. I'm sorry. I tried. I tried. This was the 3rd time. We went to Denver with a bunch of people at the city. This is after I quit working for the city. I really, really tried, but we lost, so I'm sorry. These turtles replaced the original turtles up at the Upper Common. They were lost while in storage with the city. Somebody out there knows what the original turtles are. The ones that are spitting water are these. We had them fabricated when we renovated that statue. This is the last thing. Let's not lose this. This is Riverfront Park. And see the little circle there to the left? It looks like a C. We want to put a stage there. We want to put a permanent stage to put on shows. The project has stalled. You know, we got the concept design, we got an architect, maybe do something like this. I don't know, this probably isn't a very good example, but you need a picture. I couldn't come up with anything better. We can't let this be a lost thing. We've got money, we got an architect, we got concept plans. Let's get out there and get this done. Somebody that can do a better job than me, because it clearly ain't happening with me. So thank you very much.